Hello everyone, welcome back to EVA's courseware evaluation. And this time we'll focus on Reddit for call, Reddit as a language learning tool. So hopefully you will find this video helpful and probably you can use Reddit in your own writing classroom too, or your language learning classroom. Without further ado, let's get started. So what is Reddit? Reddit, according to Google, is a social news aggregation, web content rating, and discussion website. While it is true that Reddit can be used for many purposes, in this presentation, I will mostly focus on its aspect as a discussion website. Reddit claims itself as the front page of the internet. I personally see it as an interest-driven site because it has a little bit something for everyone. So let me show you. I would say you can find almost anything and everything on Reddit. So these are categories. They have like a list for all the subreddits, all the communities in in Reddit. And if you're interested in linguistics, we actually have subreddits for that. We have Ask Linguistics, and here people would ask linguistic questions. I know there are many linguistics people in our classes, so you can explore the subreddits. It's very interesting. And a very important feature I want to draw attention to is casting votes. So with any threads, you can either upvote it or downvote it. If I downvote it, you will see, the number here decreases because the number here is the number of upvotes minus the number of downvotes. And on the front page, all the threads would be sorted according to a certain algorithm. Basically, it has something to do with the upvotes and the downvotes. That's how the order of the threads are decided. So it's very democratic, and your votes matter. I just mentioned the word subreddit a lot. A subreddit is a community within Reddit with a focus on a specific topic or kind of content. So that's Shepard's definition. So let me show you. I just show you a subreddit called Ask Linguistics. So that's one sub-community under the big umbrella, Reddit. And I just explained the cast vote function. And Reddit has a very low threshold. Anyone can register an account and participate. That means you can compose and publish a thread in the chosen community with the presence of moderators or administration teams, though. That means what you post in that community is subject to monitoring. If you violate their rules, each subreddit has their own rules. If you violate those rules, your threads can be removed. And in the worst case, your account may be banned. That means you have to register a different account in order to participate again. Personally, I think it would be more productive to see Reddit as a typical example of affinity space. That's a term coined by G in 2005. He lists several features of an affinity space. Here I try to list some of the features that are relevant to our discussion today. First of all, an affinity space is a space where people gather because of common endeavor and shared interest. So people do not come together because, like the way they are put in schools in the same classroom. They come together because they have interest and passion for certain things. And secondly, newbies and masters share the same space. It's very similar to an academic conference where we have tenured professors and doctoral or even master students. So they share the same space. And everyone can, if they wish, produce and not just consume. So it's very similar to an academic conference where you can not only attend but also present. And most importantly, the content is transformed by interactions. So that means whatever you do, whatever you contribute, the interactions you have with other fellow participants are transforming the content in that community, in that space. If you're interested in more features of Affinity Space, you can refer to G2 and 5. Now let's have a more detailed demo of Reddit, or how you explore Reddit. So this is a default front page of Reddit if you have an account. This is my account. I use it for demo purposes. Here we can choose either home, that's your timeline, and all the subreddits you joined will give you the most popular threads from their communities. That's home. And if you want to enter a specific community, say if you want to go into RPG Maker, then it will bring you to that specific subreddit. So here, this is the layout of a subreddit. That's the name, and this is its URL. And we usually have about a community here. It describes what this community do and how many members they have and how active they are. So you can create a post, create a title, and create texts. You can embed any multimodal texts here, and remember, if it has any spoilers, you need to use the flare to warn people. A very important thing to pay attention to is the rules. Most subreddits have their rules on the left column. On the right column here, it has rules. So remember to read those rules very carefully. Do not violate them, or it will lead to consequences. And on the left column, we have the threads that you can explore. You can interact. For example, if you're interested in this post, you can click it open. If you like it, you can upvote it. If you don't like it, disagree, you download it. And if you feel like talking, just comment. And if you really like this thread, you can give a word to the author saying, "Oh, I really love your thread, and thanks for your contribution. Thanks to your contribution," that kind of thing. So it's not that difficult to navigate. But it does take a while for both the students and the teachers to get familiar with Reddit and Reddit literacy. Now, talking about pros and cons of Reddit for language learning. So the pros. First of all, Reddit provides opportunities for students to use language in authentic contexts for authentic purposes. And it brings in students relevant, that means them relevant contexts to the students, so that it boosts the learner agency. I have many students saying that they would continue to use Reddit even after their first year composition course. And Reddit integrates personal interests and hobbies with language learning. I would say that greatly motivates the language learners. Furthermore, it provides opportunities for students to develop a more critical attitude towards language input from Reddit, because the language on Reddit is not very academic. It's not always academic. It can be very professional, though. So they have to be critical of what they learn there. And the teachers have to be critical, too, especially when it comes to slangs or informal or even inappropriate languages. And next thing is, because Reddit, it affords asynchronous, flexible communication among participants. So that's why it lays less pressure on language learners. And the next thing is low stake, because nobody would grade your participation in Reddit. And even if you are banned, you can register a new account and start again. Last but not the least, because of the highly multimodal nature of the content on Reddit, students have greater opportunity to experience what people do with that language and to bring their experience into language learning. And that's what we call embodiment. Now, cons. First of all, Reddit literacy, it takes time to develop, as I mentioned before, and also a prerequisite digital literacy. It can be it can be very difficult to for a student to navigate Reddit if that student is not so-called digital native. It can be more challenging. And of course, there are non-conventional and non-academic language there. And it can be too overwhelming for language beginners. I would say it suits the needs of intermediate or advanced language learners. Last but not the least, it has potential risks and conflicts with other participants, which is unpredictable and uncontrollable because it's outside the classroom domain. It's not something the teacher can control. So how do I use Reddit in my own classroom? As I mentioned before, my contact is English 107, 108. I mostly work with international students coming from all over the world, and their English proficiency is intermediate and advanced. Many of them, though not all, have prior experience with affinity space in their first language, and some are even experts or masters in their affinity space. Most students are not familiar with Reddit though, so they lack basic Reddit literacy. And we have a project with Reddit. I asked them to explore a subreddit that speaks to their personal interest, mingle with the participants there, and create their own threads, and eventually become a rock star in that community. So that's the project in a nutshell. Now, to elaborate on what I do is actually an adaptive version of Shepherd 2020. So if you're interested in more details, feel free to refer to that article. So that is the article. It's a Kairos article. It's called What Reddit Has to Teach Us About Discourse Communities by Ryan Shepherd. Step 1, I give them an intro lecture on Reddit and Reddit literacy. Step 2, I help them to locate a subreddit or subreddits that speak to their interest, guide them to explore rules and content in their subreddits. Step 3, I ask them to write weekly observation journals. They will write about their adventure in Reddit. And here are more details about the observation journal. Journal 1, I ask them to collect the professional discourse, slangs, jargon in that community and figure out the meaning. They also have to tell me how they figure out the meaning, by what ways. And Journal 2, I ask them to collect 3 popular threads and analyze why those threads are popular. So it's basically a rhetorical analysis assignment. And they have to define the popular genres in that subreddit and collect examples for those kind of genres. Journal 3, they will compose and publish threads of their own. They will also see how people react. After that, they will write a reflection on what rhetorical strategies they employ to promote their threads, and they will also analyze why people react in a certain way. For example, if their thread failed, like get removed instantly, they will figure out why. And if tons of people upvote their threads, they will also analyze why their thread become popular. So that's what I do with Reddit with my students, and they enjoy it a lot. Hopefully this video will inspire you into using Reddit or incorporating any affinity space into your own classroom. My name is Eva. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments. Here's my email. And I will see you next time in my 3rd course evaluation video. Thank you.